Hi everybody, what's going on? Emo Tempest here, and we are back. Opus 17, Opus 18 is actually already out, and today is the day. As you know, we like to cover all the elements here. We do set review, kind of a set review thing. If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and if you've been here with me for a while, well, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy it. Got a lot of insight. This is going to be a fun set, guys. I know it's the preseason or whatever, or postseason, as maybe somebody would like to call it, but it doesn't mean we're gonna stop playing. And so with that, I hope this will help you guys, deck building or give you some insight or whatever. If I help you in any way, then this was worth it. So without further ado, guys, let's get started with the Opus 18 set review, the fire stuff. All right, we have a Chuka. 5-cost backup, category 11. When a Chuka enters the field, choose a forward, deal it 8,000 damage. You can tap him to choose a forward and deal it 1,000 damage. And at 3 damage, if he deals damage to a forward, that damage increased by 1,000 instead. So a couple of interesting things. I like that he is, I know Fire already has backups that do this, but I like that 8k, threshold is very important. Also at 3 damage, this could, deal 9k. The other thing that I like is that the tap to deal 1k is usually more expensive on other cards, right? It requires like extra CP, so effectively you're paying this CP ahead of time by having this guy at cost 5, and he'll be able to kind of help finish things off as the game goes on. I don't know if you'll need to play more than one, if any at all. I don't know if the job class Nakul or however you pronounce it is going to be relevant, but 11 is always good, so something else to look forward to. Decent card, don't know if it'll see play. Before I forget, if you're still, I don't think you're doing pre-release, but sealed and drafting, not a bad card to get, honestly. False Steward. Brave, dull 1 active job mannequin. False Steward gains 2,000 power until the end of the turn. Simple card. I think it's interesting that we're getting new mannequin support this set altogether. You can duel as many as you want, as many as you have. He can block and duel himself, from what I can see. So very interesting card. Cheap and effective. Should see play. Machinist. This is the new backup from this set. Very interesting. You can pay a fire and discard him from your hand to draw a card. You can only use this ability if he's in your hand. So the good and bad things about these is, one, they're kind of, yes, they're cheap backups, and so they'll help you curve out earlier, and they also draw you a card if you've already gotten your full backup line, so they're very good in that respect. The weird thing is that sometimes it just feels bad paying 2 for 1 on turn 1 if this is all you have. So, but I think that this should be an interesting way for all the decks to kind of speed up a little bit, where normally they wouldn't. Like I would say Lightning and Ice will benefit from this the most, but it'll be nice for others to have this as well. They should see play. All of the backups that kind of develop, they should see play. Being as we might be moving into L3 format, these backup lines should definitely see play. Cleome. At the end of each of your turns, place 2 melody counters on Cleome. Remove 1 melody counter from her, choose a forward, deal 1,000, or you could remove a melody counter, choose a forward, it gains 1,000 power until the end of the turn. So, yeah, she could quite easily spiral, I think, if there's a lot of these there's a lot of 2 costs that have that ability to kind of just spiral if they're not answered earlier, and she's just another one. But now we have it in fire, right? We've had a few in water, ice, and earth, and aside from the twins being fire and water, also this is a rare, right? So this is a very, very interesting card. If she lives the first turn, then she kind of already deals, protects herself from Brynhilders and things of that nature, and then at some point she just can block her way through anything or just protect others from dying, right? So only way to really stop her is if, like, obviously you use up all her counters, but she's gonna add another dimension of fire that could be annoying if you let her live too long. So I like her, should see play. Salamander, this is the summons, one of the summons for the fire summon, but the way they read is interesting. If you cast Salamander, you remove 10 fire cards in your break zone from the game as an extra cost. Deal 5,000 damage to all forge your opponent controls. If you pay the extra, deal 7,000 to all forge instead. So, first of all, 5,000 to all forge your opponent controls for 3 is just fantastic. This card is going to be very, very good. And then if you do the 7,000, like, that's even better, right? Like, I can just see this in Samurais as easily, or anything that like has a remote, like, fire wind probably as well. But yeah, so it's just a very strong card for very cheap. So Zell, I'm very happy for the 8 stuff. Like I said, if you've been with me for a while, we're definitely going to be playing Final Fantasy 8 Knights and Water early on in this set, so stay tuned for those videos, guys. Haste. When Zell attacks, choose a forward. If Zell is at 10,000 power, deal it 8,000 damage. Discard 2 cards. Zell gains 3,000 power until the end of the turn. Pretty regular card. I like that he got full art, but I'm not super impressed with him. He's just easily overshadowed probably, but his effects should... I mean, if I'll have to see where the 8 deck goes. He is searchable, and so he can save himself, I guess, in theory. But you know, it's weird stuff. So he'll probably be a 1 of or a 2 of, but nothing too extravagant, I think. Probably very good in sealed, I think. Yeah, I would say very strong in sealed. Selfie EX Burst. When Selfie enters the field, choose a fire forward in your break zone and add it to your hand. Put Selfie into the break zone, choose a fire forward. It gains 3,000 power until the end of the turn. This is just a good card, I think. You know, Fire didn't have anything like this before. It just got the reborn from, you know, the bring back from the break zone, play it onto the field, which was the Samurai last set. And this is just another great addition, adding to the EX count. Did this need to be EX Burst? Probably not, but hey, like, it does a lot for a common, is all I'm saying, but it's very good. Two-headed dragon. When a fire forward you control attacks, choose a forward your opponent controls, deal 4,000 damage. That's a very good passive to have. I think this card is gonna... It's kind of absurd, I think, but I hope to be right about this one. And then you can put 2 cards from the top of your deck into the break zone. Until the end of the turn, he becomes a 2-headed. He becomes a forward of 9,000 power. You can only use this ability once per turn, right? So really, if you're just keeping him out, like, he kind of dodges that a few of the monster breaks, right? Because they're usually like 2 or less. Some of the other ones, right? They're 2 or less, but you know, Rubble and I think Lock still break him, no biggie. But he will be a very annoying card to kind of just, if any fire forward attacks, deal 4,000 ahead of time. That kind of just lines everything up with Brynhilde range. That kind of just lines up everything, like, I don't know, man. It's weird. So he can super trade up. This allows other forwards to super trade up now. Very strong card, I think. A 1 of, like, kind of just gonna squeak in all the time now, I think. So, mind you, I know when I say a 1 of, sometimes it sounds like it's not that important, right? Because you're only playing 1 of. But remember, we already have so much like tight deck space, but that 1 of isn't gonna change. He should always be in there, I think, for fire. Titus, Haste. When Titus enters the field, put the top 5 cards of the deck into break zone. When you do so, choose 1 forward of all the cards you put in the break zone or fire element, deal at 8,000. Some of these effects look like Fire's going back to its old, like, unnecessarily expensive ways. I don't need to pay this. I'd rather, like, comparing to Zell, right? This is an H, right? They both have haste. You know, I have to mill 5, and this one has to make me, you know, all I have to do is attack and then discard 2, put him at 10, right? The value's not compared there, and it's weird. And on top of this, I gotta deal with this Yes art from Kingdom Hearts, man. I don't need I don't need any more of that one. This is a pass for me. Berserker, I feel like we get these every set too. Now he's in fire, and before he was in earth. First strike, must attack once per turn if possible. When he enters the field, you may pay a fire. When you do so, choose a forward. It gains, if possible, this forward must block until the end of the turn. Now that is a great addition to this card, though. Again, I don't know how much this will see play, but forcing your opponent to block is always very nice. It's always a big surprise, and it's kind of annoying. I know the backgammon, the Earth one from a few sets ago, started seeing a little bit of play in certain decks, and so this might also see a little play in certain decks. I can't say for sure, but I can say confidently that Sealed, if you have enough to pay for this guy and deal with him, should be very strong. Pain, 6 cost EX burst. Gold Wings forward. When Pain enters the field, choose a forward, deal it 7,000. If it's multi-elemental, deal it 10,000. If a damaged forward your opponent controls is put from the field into the break zone, removed from the game instead. So yeah, the EX burst is nice. Obviously, I don't think you'll get the second part. Like if it kills it on EX burst, it should still keep it into the break zone. But yeah, it's a decent card. I don't know if I'll keep it. But Fire is getting too many EX bursts now. That should be moving. It should be a bigger problem for a lot of people. We need more anti-EX burst protection, or like hate somehow, or bubbles, or like protect and stuff like that. More things of that nature, or can't be targeted. We have the L. When Ferris enters the field or attacks, deal 1,000 damage to all forwards. When Ferris or Job Warrior of Light forward you control is dealt damage, choose up to one forward your opponent controls, deal 3,000 damage. Okay, that kind of makes sense now. And when Ferris enters the field, you may search for a Job Warrior of Light other than card named Ferris and add it to your hand. So, when Ferris enters, deals 1,000 to everybody. If you have a few Warrior of Lights, they'll deal 1,000. Yeah. So he'll deal 1,000 to himself, right? Effectively. When Ferris enters the field, attacks, deal 1,000 damage to all forwards. Yes. Alright, so he'll hit everybody, and then a bunch of autos will trigger, and then he'll hit. He kind of cleans up the board. So that's actually very strong. When I first glanced at it, I don't think I read it right, and so it seems a lot better now. Yeah, this could be troublesome. Very, very annoying to deal with. Obviously kind of limited to a Warrior of Light deck, unfortunately. He doesn't really, but we have, I don't know if this is the support we need, but probably not. Other than that, I think it's a very strong card, and the full art looks very nice. Let's see, hope it finds a home. I think it's a good card, definitely. Fang, if you control 3 or more Category 13 characters, the Category 13 forwards you control gain 2,000, okay? And during this turn, the cost required to cast your next 13 forward is reduced by 2. Nice. It cannot be 0. You can only use this ability during your turn and once per turn. I like this. Beatrix for a category instead of a job. Yeah, solid. I can't argue with that. And she buffs if you have a passive. It's she's a different kind of plus 2k, but I like that the first effect is characters, so if you have your backups up, she'll be active. Yeah, 3 or more. Doesn't say other, right? So 2 backups and her. She's 7k. And then this will start protecting everyone else too. And then now you can start developing board, which is very nice. Should be good. I'm always iffy about 13 because of, they're all over the place and they've never really been in the limelight. So I'm hoping that the custom starter that comes out next year, early next year, should fix that. But this will be a good card probably for that as well. Meath. Meath enters, you may discard a multi-element card. If you do so, search for one card other than a backup and add it to your hand. Very strong. The multi-elemental thing is going to be very fun this set. I'm curious. It really all just depends on how the format, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Is if we're going to do L3, L6, or standard. So this should definitely see play if we're in L6 and stuff, or in L3. But outside of that, the standard it's going to be put in a specific deck, right? Ramza, my boy. This is probably my favorite one so far. 7 cost Ramza Knight, Warp, Fire in 1 colorless. When Ramza enters the field, choose a Job Knight of cost 5 or less in your break zone. Play it onto the field. Duel 4 Job Knights. Choose a forward your opponent controls. Break it. Ramza deals your opponent 1 point of damage. Yes, please. So, all things considered, the warp effect is very nice. It's a warp 2, which is pretty chill. Being able to bring back a knight is useful. So I'm glad that yes, you can pay 2 for him and kind of set him up, But on the bright side is that his abilities aren't limited to being warped. So in the worst case scenario, you could, Beatrix makes him 5 to bring back another 5, right? You play him to bring back another one. So a lot of stuff happens here, and then you can just break stuff, and then, deal your opponent a point of damage. This second ability is going to steal games. And so I like this very much. Strong card, we'll see play. Lulu backup. You can tap her to discard a card, choose a forward, deal it 3,000 damage. If it's a multi-element forward, deal it 5,000 damage instead. Yeah, this is just L3 protection, I guess, is what L3 insurance, right? If the next few sets are all going to be multicolored in important or like encouraged, then cards like this and the other ones that we see that underneath, like I said, are all going to be relevant at some point shortly, soon. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. Rain. If you don't control any forwards, the cost required to cast Rain is reduced by 2. Rain gains 1,000 power. When Rain attacks, choose a forward, deal 5,000. That's a 3 damage thing. It's always there's so many Rains, it's hard to choose. Deciding which one to do is probably going to be the worst thing. I'm still going to be a fan of the light one probably, but that's about it. Alright, and Axstar, the next legendary. When Axstar enters the field, dull and freeze all forwards other than cost 3. When Axstar enters the field, you may play 1 fire or 1 ice forward of cost 3 or less onto the field. When Axstar enters the field or attacks, choose a forward your opponent controls. Deal 3,000 damage for each forward of cost 3 you control. So yeah, a lot of interesting effects. Honestly, this is like, I would love to just, jet special this, just stop all of them on the stack. Yeah, the Amaterasu is gonna have a hard time here. Like, this is like both just a laugh in Amaterasu's face, because you gotta pick one, not all of them. So I'm assuming the play one of Fire Ice is gonna be from your hand and not on the break zone. I'm sure there might have already been an errata for that, but yeah, a lot of very strong effects. When he enters the field or attacks, choose a forward your opponent controls for each forward of 3 of cost 3 you control. So this is obviously going to go in like a Fire Ice, maybe, or like a very 3 cost heavy deck. Depending on the relevance of that, Shinryu might make a sudden increased appearance outbreak rate. But yeah, very strong card, very dangerous actually. The first one is just crazy. Dull and freeze all forwards other than cost 3, right? So it's just like, yeah, that's very annoying. A lot of strong effects, very, very worth the legendary tag. I think is probably one that I haven't been impressed with as much as this one. So we'll see where it goes, but should definitely see some play. Caius, man, these are never good, right? When he enters the field, discard your hand. Great. When Caius attacks, select one of the following 2 actions. Your opponent discards a card. Caius gains, if Caius does damage to a forward of your opponent, double the damage instead until the end of the turn. Okay, so they take 2 damage, I guess, if he's able to swing. But you should have given him haste if I'm giving you my whole hand. Yeah, this is a weird one. Maybe a one of, but it really just depends on. I guess his abilities are going to be nice if we have a lot of effects where it requires us to be handless. Nothing pops to my hand, but probably the lightning. If you have her out already and you need to like overextend for something. I mean, this guy's your guy, but am I really playing a game? Am I really going to be playing a game that makes me like want to put myself in those situations? I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll move on. Snow. When Snow enters the field or attacks, reveal the top 2 cards of the deck. Of your deck, remove a category 13 card among them from the game and return to the others to the bottom of the deck in any order. You can cast it anytime you could normally cast it this turn. Okay, so and then at 3 he gains at 3 damage he gains 2,000 power and haste. Now, I like these cards, but I like them mid game always. Seeing this guy really early, excuse me, it's just tough sometimes. Unless you know, I don't know. I like the idea where you're able to like feel out things. these are mandatory triggers, so you're gonna reveal the top 2 cards, remove one of the category things among them. Yeah, so even if you didn't want to, you're gonna have to do it anyway that turn. So yeah, it's just tough. Obviously, you wouldn't play it too early if you don't have the extra CP. On the turns that he has haste, could be very could be dangerous, right? He could bring us back into a game that we might normally be losing by allowing us to play a few cards. You know, right? He'll enter, reveal one, grab one, attack, get another one, and then who knows? We can do like, I don't know what 13 characters would be like that game changing, but he can set up a lot, which is very nice. Yeah, again, I'm optimistic for this 13 deck. Let's see where it lands and see if these cards like this one make it. Xande. When Xande enters the field, choose up to the same number of forwards your opponent controls as the characters put in the break zone from the field during this turn. Deal them 9,000 damage. Okay. For Fire and Earth, put 5 backups into the break zone. Play Xande onto the field. You can only use this ability during each turn. And if Xande is in the break zone, wow. Okay. All right. I see where his effects come from. That's an interesting kind of like a board clear. Very situational, I think. I'm kind of conflicted on how I feel on his strength. So yeah, it really just depends how many characters we can do. Like, it's obviously in a turn where we're getting during your turn. During your turn. So I can't board clear on my opponent's turn, which kind of sucks. But we could play out and then do it and then kind of close out games, I guess. And I think that's what I'm getting at here. That's what I'm seeing here, right? So like, we're trying to close this game out, right? We're opponent's at 5. He's got a full board. I'm full backup, and all I have to do is tap out and then pay my 2, because they don't have to be active backups, right? So and then it's just send them all to the break zone, play Xande, deal 9k to 5 things, and then just swing in with the rest of with the rest of your forwards, right? That's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's kind of if they gave him haste, it would have been a little bit like if he got haste from this effect too, it would have been nice. But I think he's very interesting. Okay, should be fun to see how people play him. I know this is another L. We're kind of getting into Earth territory. I think I'm gonna skip the. Nah, we'll just go into him. I think you guys aren't big. We'll probably talk about him more once we get to the Earth too. But when he enters the field, you receive a point of damage. When you do so, search for a fire or Earth character other than Bosch and add it to your hand. At 3 damage, he gains 1,000 in Brave, and at 5 damage, when Bosch attacks, choose a forward your opponent controls and deal 8k. So being able to search any fire and Earth character is very nice. The taking the damage kind of leads me to. I'm okay with this more and more because of how important damage thresholds are, right? Like himself. They're they're getting stronger every set. And so when we have cards like this that kind of put us in those damage areas and net us a card, I think they're very strong. And for those reasons, I think Bosch will see play. Leon is kind of, a little underwhelming. Brave, when he enters the field, deals you a point of damage. This guy's never been, like, the only Leon is the wind one that's been playable, but yeah, we don't need to take unnecessary damage for nothing else really. Not for 9Ks and Brave. Arciela, I love this card. I'm so glad Arciela's coming in more. Like, last one was very relevant. This one might also be very relevant as well. At the beginning of the attack phase during each of your turns, you may reveal any number of cards from your hand. When you reveal 3 or more fire cards, choose a forward, deal 7,000 damage. When you reveal 3 or more water cards, draw a card. If you reveal 3 or more cards of each element, both effects will trigger. So, I can just show you my hand and go 7k and draw. It's not bad. Yeah, very strong card. Is she going to replace the other one? Maybe in this deck, maybe in a fire water deck, but she's kind of limited to those things, right? Like, I'm going to be in one of those colors, so that's her downside, right? The other one was just so much better all the time. And the full art really doesn't add much to me. Sure, I can kind of see She's got a dagger now. Oh well. It's still a very nice card. Should be fun. Jet, force, multicolored 4. I guess we're kind of treading into water territory now, but like I said, until the end of turn, Jet gains haste for strike and brave for 2, and then choose a 4, deal 8k. Yeah, not impressive to me just yet. Fun during limited for sure if you get multiples. And yeah, we'll probably save the Furion for the water side. So going back here, I think we just have the Lotus, Ravis, and Arden. Yeah, we'll save those for the starter review. I've had that sitting there, haven't unpublished, but maybe everything comes out with this. So yeah, guys, that's it for the fire review. Naturally, the cards that stick out to me the most are Salamander. The 2-headed dragon is fun, and Ramza, of course, the number 1. The L's, which I would consider to be, I know there's lots of L's here, right? Because we have the Furion and the Bosch, but the Ferris and the X-Star are independently strong. I like them very much. I think Fire had got a lot of neat tricks this set, like Fang and Meath, and again, Ramza. Oof. And then Cleo. Yeah, those are the ones for me. Which ones did you guys enjoy? Make sure to leave it in the comments below, and make sure to check out the other reviews. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you later.